Hey there, this is Holly Chantal, the founder of the Land of Brand and your lead Mad Brand scientist for today's laboratory, or the Land of Brand laboratory as we like to call it. We call it the LOBoratory. And basically, if you've never joined us every week on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern, we meet and we talk about different topics in building your brand for your coaching business. So, how can you build a brand that is totally unique, allows you to get paid for what you're passionate about, and stand out in the marketplace so that you can have the business of your dreams? And today we're going to talk about systematizing your business. So, a couple years ago when I got married, I went for my honeymoon in Thailand for 2 weeks. And then again last year, I had a baby and took a month-long maternity leave. And these were some of the things that helped me be able to do that and step away from my business without feeling guilty and without feeling like I was going to have a negative impact on my business. So I know that a lot of you are wondering, how can you free up more time? How can you step away from your business without feeling guilty? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Is just a few simple things that you can automate in your business that you might not even realize how easy that would be to do. So let's go ahead and move over. I'm going to apologize because I am a little bit under the weather. Luckily, I am able to talk. I woke up on Saturday morning and I sounded like Marge Simpson. So thankfully my voice has come back, but I'm still not feeling awesome. All right. All right, so today's topic is systems that run your business. And for those of you that are experienced Mad Brand scientists, you've been with us before, then you already know the drill. But for those of you that are new, basically we're going to talk for probably about 20 minutes, or I'm going to talk for 20 minutes. And then if you have any questions at any point during the presentation, type them into the chat box on the right-hand side, and I will happily answer those at the end. And you want to send them in early because there might be a slight delay from when I'm talking and when you're hearing me. So oftentimes I jump off the webinar because I didn't see any questions and they come in afterwards. So type them in as soon as you have them and I will just take a look at the chat box at the very end and answer your questions and comments. And if you have anything to add to the conversation, please feel free. I know that many of you have experience with this type of thing and I would love to hear what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, and any suggestions that you might have. All right, so what is the game plan today? Well, first, I would like to introduce you to my friend, Sid Stem. That's a joke. How to know what to systematize in your business. So what is the barometer to knowing what you should be automating? Specific examples for how to systematize different areas of your business, and then some software that will help you do that. So meet Mr. Sid Stem. And he is going to revolutionize the way you look at your business because you probably don't even realize how much time you're wasting every single day. I know sometimes this still happens. I feel like I'm just doing busy work all day and I'm not getting to the really important tasks that I know need to get done. For me, I find it much easier to focus on client work than sometimes my work, probably because my clients are paying me and I feel that moral obligation to get their stuff done first. But even so, sometimes it still is difficult to keep up with my marketing, keep up with my follow-up, keep up with putting together my packages and programs when there is so much of my day devoted to either client work or just small things like answering questions or sending out a proposal or booking an appointment. Just all of those little busy work things, they end up eating away at your day so that when you're at the end of the day, you realize that you did not get hardly anything actually done. So this is just a short list of what you can systematize to help save you time so that you can really focus on what's important and what you're brilliant at. So answering questions, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later, how to do that, because that is probably one of the big question marks here is how would you automate answering someone's question? Sending proposals, booking appointments, sending out newsletters, posting to social media, distributing articles. So that means taking an article from your blog and posting it on social media, posting it to article databases, those things, promoting it basically, and your sales campaigns, webinar follow-up, all of those things that go into running your business and selling your programs. So what should you be systematizing? So how do you know what activities in your day should be automated? And basically, a good rule of thumb is anything that you do more than 3 times. So if you answer the same question, even twice, I'd say automate it. So if someone asks you the question more than once, it's something that needs to be systematized. Send the same proposal or another type of email or response or anything like that, that needs to be systematized. Anything that doesn't require your direct attention. So scheduling appointments doesn't really need to be done by you. Distributing articles, again, not rocket science. It's something that doesn't require your personal judgment, does not require your personal input. Really, it's a kind of point and click kind of thing, so you don't need to be doing it. Anything that can easily be set up ahead of time. So social media updates, sending out your newsletter, sales and follow-up systems like for webinars, teleseminars, opt-in offers, those kinds of things. And before we go any further, I realized that I didn't write a slide about what it means to systematize. So I'm just going to cover that really quick here. So, so systematizing your business means that either you're automating something completely, so you're taking it totally off your plate, kind of set it and forget it, and it just happens. And that's what business automation is. Another way to look at systematizing is to make it so that you do it the same way each time. So you are using templates or specific procedures to complete tasks so that you're not having to reinvent the wheel every time you have to do something. And oftentimes when you get good at this and you have a procedure that you've used and is working, then it can be outsourced, and then that makes it automated because it's like a set it and forget it. You give the system or procedure to someone else and they do it. So systematizing is basically that setup of those efficient systems in your business that allow you to kind of stop thinking and stop creating and just doing, so that you leave that creative process and that creative thoughts to the actual work that you're doing and creating. So I hope that was a good explanation. If you guys have any questions about that, definitely type them into the chat. I'm happy to answer them. So here's some examples from that last page of what to systematize. Here's some examples about how you would do that. So the answering questions. So if you're asked a question, sometimes if it's just you just get asked once and you think it was a really good question, and you find yourself writing a really long response, it can be turned into an article. Or you can, if you answer a question 2 or 3 times, again, write an article. That way, the next time someone asks you that question, you just direct someone to the article. You'll find that oftentimes if you shoot me an email and ask me a question, I usually have an article that I've already written on that topic, and I'll just send it to you. And it saves me probably 30 minutes from typing this really long, drawn-out response to that specific question. So it saves you a lot of time in the long run when you put it on your blog. Plus, chances are other people have that question as well, and they might find your website just from typing that question into Google, because now it's on your blog. The other thing you can do is compile a swipe file of canned responses. And basically what a swipe file is a document that is kept on your computer that has snippets of content that can be copied and pasted. This is from my days in the summers when I was in college. I worked as an intern at MBNA, which is now Bank of America. So I worked for a credit card company, and I did customer service and filling out applications and those kinds of things. And we always had this swipe file of what we called account comments. So just typical things that people would call in for, where we would need to comment on their account, and we would just copy and paste the the canned comments into the account, so that we would save time from having to type it all out again. So you can use the same tactic or strategy in your business. And it works really well. Things like, this is a good one. Will there be a webinar replay? That one gets me every single time, because every time I do a webinar, I'm always very clear in the follow-up and on the sales page or the opt-in page, that there is a replay, but not, I mean, I always get at least 10 people asking me. So that's just something I copy and paste, the explanation of will there be a replay, how they get it, and that kind of thing. And it just makes it very easy to respond to that email, because I try to personally respond to every email I get, and this makes it easier and doesn't take as much time this way. Another thing you can automate is your proposals. So if you're in the business where you are creating custom programs for people, or for instance, we do branding and website design, which is very, very detailed process, and people expect to have very defined deliverables because it's quite an investment. So we use proposals. And so in the beginning, when I started, I would write each proposal separately. And it was taking forever. So now what I have is a basically a templated proposal that I then copy paste, tweak for that person if we talked about anything different that's customized to their business, and then I copy and paste that into an email and send it to them. And we're actually working on further templatizing this by creating an actual PDF that can be edited and customized to that person, but it has our branding and everything. So this is a great way if you're spending a lot of time writing proposals. Just take the highlights or the most common pieces of your packages and just create different templates that you can kind of copy and paste and mix and match for each prospect, and that will make your job so much easier, and it helps you stay consistent with what you're promising people. Sometimes, I know in the beginning when I was writing everything custom, sometimes I would forget what we had agreed on, or what I was supposed to be doing, because it was so different between person to person that I would get confused. So it helps you stay consistent as well. An advanced way to implement this tactic is to use a CRM system or a business automation platform like Infusionsoft or Entreport to send out a proposal automatically. So if your proposals are pretty much cookie cutter from person to person, then this might be, you might be able to just, be able to check a box and have it go out to that person and have the follow-up already all set up. So booking appointments using booking software, and so booking appointments, this always takes a ridiculous amount of time. If you're trying to coordinate, 4 or 5 different appointments at the same time, I know my calendar gets booked up fairly quickly because I only have so many hours each week that I can actually do appointments. So if I'm trying to coordinate meetings with 3 different people and I'm offering them 2 times each, that means I have 6 times on my calendar now that are reserved that I have to remember are reserved. And, oftentimes things get double booked, and it's just a total nightmare. So make it easy on yourself. Use something like Time Trade, or there's plenty of different appointment booking software out there. They're fairly cheap. And what I do is I have a calendar that basically has all my typical appointment times laid out, and I just point a custom domain to that calendar so that it's easy to tell someone by phone, or it's easy to shoot off an email to someone and say, just go to bookholly.com and pick a time that works for you. Because I get, maybe 10 emails a day of people wanting to book appointments, or they have questions, and it's probably easier to talk over the phone. So it's easier for me to just say, hey, I'd love to talk to you. I think that's a fantastic idea. Just go to bookholly.com, pick a time that works for you. That way we're not going back and forth and trying to figure out what time zone everyone's in and that kind of thing. It just makes it so much quicker and easier. The other thing you can do is so you create a application like we have on our branding services page or our website design page. We have an application, and then at the bottom, when you're done filling out the application, instead of sending you to a thank you page, it sends you to that calendar to book your time to talk. So it's something that's very easy to do if you're creating a form on your site that you want people to fill out before they book an appointment with you. Usually on that form, there's a setting where you set where you want the thank you page to go. Most people just send them back to their website. You can easily just take the URL for the calendar, pop it in there, and they'll be directed to book completely automated without you having to talk to them. More examples, so sending your newsletter. You can use an autoresponder. For example, if the content is evergreen, that kind of is counterintuitive with a newsletter. But what you might do is, oftentimes people do have, evergreen newsletters that are sent out weekly, or I know a lot of people like to, especially coaches, like to offer, maybe daily affirmations or other types of content that's weekly, and they just preload everything and you put it into an autoresponder so it's sent out automatically um, every day, or every day or every week, whatever time frame you're setting it for. And you can schedule broadcasts ahead of time. So when I went to Thailand, I had all of my newsletters preloaded so that they would send out while I was gone. And basically the way I wrote them, because my newsletters are not evergreen, I do write them by hand each time, is I set them up to, and in my welcome, I would say, hey, I'm in Thailand, I hope you're doing awesome. Here's the article for this week. So, I actually said in the broadcast that I was in Thailand, but I'd set them up way beforehand. And I also, when I was on maternity leave, I set up the LOBoratory completely automated. So in that case, I actually set up an autoresponder versus broadcast, because I think I took like 3 months off from the LOBoratory because during that last trimester, I could barely talk. I was so breathless. It's so funny listening back to those webinars. So I set that up as an autoresponder and had those go out every week automatically so that new people that opted in to join those were getting the right emails. Posting to social media. So you can use scheduling software like Hootsuite. I used to use Sprout Social. I'm not sure if they're around anymore. I haven't looked into this recently. But Hootsuite is fantastic, super easy to use, and it allows you to schedule your social media updates ahead of time. Another thing you can use, which is not on here, is if this, then that. It's IFTTT. I think there's 4 T's. IFTTT. And that would actually allow you to automate when you send your blog post to your website. It would actually also post it to social media. So those are things that are really easy to automate and get off your plate. Distributing articles. You can create a procedure list and hand that off to an assistant, because again, not something that requires your judgment or reinventing the wheel every time. It's literally log in, copy, paste, maybe make a summary, maybe put in some keywords and send it off. And those are things that are really easy for anyone to do. Sales campaigns. So whenever I am promoting a product, a program, or doing a webinar, there's basic procedures that I follow. So once I've done something once, I can just copy and paste that campaign, change the dates in it, maybe change some of the emails, and just run it again. And that saves so much time. For instance, the LOBoratory email that you guys get every week, you'll notice it basically has the same information in it every week, other than the title and the links change. So every Wednesday morning, I log onto my computer, get into Infusionsoft, I pull up the broadcast from the week before, change the title, change the link, send it off. And that saves a lot of time from having to write the same email over and over again. Software to check out. So these are pieces of software that will help you systematize some of these things. The appointment booking software that I recommend is TimeTrade. There are plenty of others out there. If you use something different, feel free to post that in the chat. I'd love to see what other people are using. Some of them will allow you to take payments before someone can book, have different types of appointments and that kind of thing. TimeTrade I just found was easy to use and cheap. The real reason I use those because it's one of the only ones that will incorporate with Infusionsoft. So I have a plugin so that TimeTrade actually plugs into Infusionsoft so that they play nicely together. Social media, Hootsuite, I just talked about that. It's basically scheduling software. It also will help you track the analytics on your social media. Autoresponders. This is a hot one, and I might do another webinar about this, about how to choose your autoresponder. So if you are looking, if you're starting out and you want something that's fairly cheap, then Aweber, GetResponse, or MailChimp are all fantastic options. If your business is at least 50K plus, then you probably want to be moving into a CRM and business automation. I recommend Infusionsoft or Ontraport. Again, another topic for another day. I'm thinking about switching to Ontraport, so if you're thinking about those things, let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you about those, because those pieces of software are super powerful and can really automate your business, but they're quite an undertaking to set up, and they're also quite a financial commitment. So probably worth a conversation. Finding a contractor. So a lot of these things can easily be systematized, automated, taken off your plate if you had a contractor doing them for you. So some websites I recommend are Fiverr, which basically everything is $5. That's good if you want to get something done really quick and cheaply. Odesk is fantastic. They're usually a little bit cheaper, but the quality is usually a little bit less. And then Elance is a little bit more high end. There's really not too much of a difference between Elance and Odesk as far as cost, but I find that the contractors on Elance tend to be a little bit of a higher caliber. So those are 3 fantastic sites where you can really literally post exactly what you want and have within just a couple hours people bidding on your project and giving you examples of work, and basically you can choose from many which one you think would be best for you. So recap, automating even just a few of the tasks that you have on your plate will save you so much time. If you're not having to do the same thing over and over again every day, it frees up that time to focus on stuff that's really important. With just a few systems, you can feel good about stepping away from your business for a short period. So I knew when I was in Thailand for 2 weeks, my business was running without me. When I came back, there was, people hadn't forgotten about me. Things were still going out. Things were still happening in my business, and that was fantastic. And maternity leave, I know, people are always having babies, so being able to systematize and step away for a couple months, and knowing that that you're going to come back to still having a business is really important. All of this could be done even easier with a solid team. I am the quintessential solopreneur, so I tend to do a lot of things myself. I have a hard time letting go. I know many of you are the same way. But if you have the mental and financial wherewithal to hire a team, definitely worth the effort, because a lot of these things can be taken off your plate and maybe even done a lot better than you could do yourself, to be honest. Systematizing your business makes it even more valuable. So the more systems you create, the more procedures you create, it actually makes your business more valuable. So if you were going to license programs later, maybe even sell your business, having these pieces in place so that someone else can run the business without you, it gives your business actually a higher price tag. And you'll also find, for instance, Ryan Dice, if you guys have heard of him, he was recently selling a program called The Machine, which is basically all of his autoresponder sequences that he uses in his business. And he made millions of dollars selling those systems. So you might find that if your systems are proven to work across different businesses and that kind of thing, that you could even create a product out of it. So there are many benefits to systematizing and automating the simple things in your business. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat on the right-hand side. I see there's a couple questions there now from Kim, but before I start answering them, I'm going to tell you what we're talking about next week. So next week, the topic is why coaches should blog and how you can get started. So if you're a coach and you don't have a blog, what's wrong with you? That's a joke. I would never say that. So if you don't have a blog, we're going to talk about kind of why you should, what are the benefits, how do you get started, why is it so overwhelming, those kinds of things. And just a reminder that if you're thinking about starting a blog or you have a website and you really want to launch it or really just start marketing yourself this year because you haven't been, then make sure you check out Blog Marketology, because that's starting next week. We haven't started yet, And that's going to be a really step-by-step walking you through the setup of the systems that go behind your blog so that you're not wasting time and you're getting the most out of your efforts. So let's go ahead and move over to the chat and see if there's any questions here. So Kim says, I'm going to set up an FAQ page to direct people to. Fantastic. Yeah, that's really good if you have programs that people are always asking questions about, then an FAQ is perfect. You know, questions like, what is the format? What if I miss a session? Those kinds of things, definitely appropriate for an FAQ. If they are more content related, so Kim, I know you're a horse trainer, so if you're getting a lot of questions about how to keep your horse from spooking or how to administer an antibiotic, those kinds of things, those are probably more suited to articles. I'm sure you know that, but I just want to make sure so everyone knows what the delineation is between those. Kim says, do you use Time Trade or something else? I had already answered that, so you must ask that before. You also asked, do you use the free or paid version of Hootsuite? If you're on the free version, how many streams do you have set up? I'm currently using the free version because I don't need any more streams than the free version gives you. I'm pretty sure it's the free version. Yeah, it must be because I probably wouldn't have it because I barely use social media. So I only have Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and LinkedIn set up, I think. Maybe Pinterest. I think you're allowed 5. So that's all I have set up because I don't post to social media that much, and so I only maintain a few of the a few profiles so that I can focus on those. Kim also asked what the color of the room I'm in today is. Kim, you must have not joined us for a while because I'm in the same office I've been in for the last like 3 months. It's blue. Daniel says, is the blog marketology program info on your site? Yes. Let me just make sure that it is there. I'm pretty sure it's right in the navigation. So if you go to thelandofbrand.com, right in the top level navigation, there is blog marketology right there, and you can check the program out. But if you are interested in signing up, Daniel, shoot me an email, holly@thelandofbrand.com, and I'm going to be running a special in the next few days, but it's actually not going out to everyone. It's only going out to some people that had already shown interest. So if you don't want to miss out on that, just shoot me an email and I will be happy to put you on that special list. And I'm not seeing any other questions come in. So I hope you guys are thinking about blog marketology. I would love to see you. Kim's going to be doing it again because she had so much fun. And she learned a lot and wants to, as she put it, get the kick in the pants she needs to really start implementing. So it is a fun course. You get so much done, and it really takes a lot of the guesswork out of your marketing and setting up a lot of these systems. So a lot of the things we talked about today, you'll be doing and setting up in blog marketology. All right, I don't see any other questions. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. If any questions come up afterwards, you have a topic that you'd like me to cover in a future LOBoratory call, or you want help creating your awesome brand, then please email holly@thelandofbrand.com. And as I said, I personally respond to all of my emails. And I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.